Hello and welcome to Art Department Junkie. Today I'll be going over 4 basic design elements that you can use to manipulate a frame. All of this goes hand in hand with shot framing and composition, so if you're familiar with that, this should be a breeze. I'll even be showing some examples from famous films so that you can get a better idea of what I'm talking about. So 4 simple things you can use to help manipulate a frame would be line, color, balance, and size. Line is basically shot composition. Horizontal, vertical, diagonal, etc. A horizontal line, almost like the horizon, gives us a very calm and peaceful sort of tone. If you have a lot of vertical lines together, it's very structural and powerful. Think of like columns of buildings. A wavy line or a curvy line seems a little more feminine or serene. It doesn't make us feel as tense, but a straight line is very stern, it's very to the point. A diagonal line is really sharp and aggressive, and it tends to draw the eye depending on which way it leans. So if you were to put 2 diagonal lines together like this, or like this, you're almost creating an arrow that draws the eye up or draws the eye down. The eye is going to tend to go towards that point. When 2 diagonal lines come together, or when you have lines that are drawing your eye towards one place, it's called a leading line. Leading lines are huge in film, and most of the time they're diagonal lines or slightly curved lines that take your eye from one place and draws it over to another. So a really good example of this is in The Shining, when the kid is riding his tricycle down the hallway, and then you stop and you have these 2 diagonal lines of the hotel rooms on the left and the right that draw the viewer's eye all the way down the middle of the hallway to where the twins are. Color is also a really big part of design. They have emotional meanings, societal meanings or cultural meanings, and psychological meanings. For example, if you think of the color red, it means love or passion, but at the same time it also means anger and strength. For example, in Western culture, white normally symbolizes purity, but in Eastern culture, it normally represents death or nothingness. Here's a good example of color from Mad Max Fury Road. As you can see, the dominant color is blue, but the hint of orange in the background draws our eye to it because it's different than the rest of the frame, even though everyone in the background isn't in focus. Here's another example from Silence of the Lambs. As you can see, the main character wears gray and is in the center, and everyone else around her is wearing red. This shows that she's different from everyone else, which is what they're going for thematically. Size is another thing that draws a viewer's eye. Think of a close-up. In a close-up, the actor's face is the largest thing on the screen, which is why our eye is drawn to it. This is a still from It Follows, where you see the character is perfectly in the center, and she also wears the lightest color in the frame, which is pink. You'll also notice that she's the smallest thing in the frame, so our eyes will naturally go to that because it's different than everything else around her. Weight or balance plays another part of design. Your eye will naturally go from one side or the other depending on where the action is. If you have a really cluttered left side of the frame, your eye is naturally going to follow the action to the right. If you have a really cluttered right side of the frame, your eye is naturally going to follow it to the left. Here's a perfect way to use balance in a scene from The King's Speech. Understanding balance and how to use it is a great way to build tension in a scene. As you can see, the character is in the lower left side, which gives the viewer this uneasy feeling because there's so much empty space, and that's exactly what they're going for. Here's another example of balance from Moonrise Kingdom. If you'll see, the clouds take your eye from the left all the way into the center, and then the vertical lines that center the character bring your eyes down, but then the curved lines that go around the railing bring your eyes back to the center. As always, links to the films I talked about are in the description box below. I pulled all of these screen grabs from One Perfect Frame, so go ahead and check them out while you're down there. If this interests you, I highly suggest watching the video series Every Frame a Painting. It dives deeper into the cinematography, composition, and design of today's films. If you want more of this, check out the Art Department Junkie playlist on my channel, and if you want to keep up to date with all the latest videos, go ahead and hit subscribe. As always, thanks for watching.